Hello, this is Watch All About with another watch review, and in this review we're looking at the Spinnaker Bradner, which is a compressor style case. So without further ado, let's begin the unboxing. So as is usually the case, not the most exciting box from Spinnaker, however this is most likely just to stay in your loft. And away, there it is, the watch itself. So we have a little tag, obviously the watch on the cushion itself. But then what else do we have? A little book here, My Spinnaker, with some information, and a little Spinnaker polishing cloth, which is quite nice. And don't forget the silicone gel. Do not eat that because it'll make you very sick. Great. Okay, let's put that all to the side. So nothing too exciting really. Pretty standard in terms of box. Let's talk about the watch, however. This is pretty exciting because the price of this watch is actually really good. The RRP is $285, which is about 220 GBP, Great British Pounds. However, I've got a code, WIAA20, as in Watch All About 20. That'll give you 20% off, making it $228 or about £175. Now, as we discuss it, that is a pretty decent price. Anything under £200 for this quality of watch is really decent. So let's get stuck into it and have a look at the watch in closer detail. So let's talk about some of the specs. So if I just pop it on my wrist, so I've got about a 7¼ inch wrist for your reference. Right, so we've got a 42mm diameter, we've got a height of 14mm, and then a lug-to-lug length of 50mm. So pretty reasonable size. It's a diving watch. All Spinnaker watches are diving watches. 42mm I think is perfectly reasonable. Might be a little bit big for some people, however, I think it works really well, especially visually. Got a very minimal bezel, and we've got the inner bezel instead, which looks really striking. So it certainly does create a massive wrist presence, but it doesn't look too huge. It wears reasonably small actually. Weight-wise, we've got 90 grams on the wrist, so it is nice and comfortable when you're wearing it. It's not, a massive weight on your wrist. It's quite easily to wear it for long periods of time, which is good. Water resistance is 150 meters or 15 atmospheres, so you are covered for a decent depth there. You can go swimming with it. It is supposedly water-resistant leather. I personally wouldn't trust it because you probably still will ruin the leather if you are swimming with it too much. So I would replace it for a NATO strap, for instance, if you were to go swimming with it. The crown's a screw in, and so is the case back, so obviously you do have a bit of water resistance cover there. 20mm lug width, so it is very easy to replace the strap if you feel the need to. However, the quality of the strap is really nice, but we'll go into that in closer detail in a little while. 2-year warranty with the watch as well, which is good, so you're covered in case of any serious issues. And the movement is a Seiko NH35, so that is a movement we see very regularly on affordable watches. Really decent, dependable, reliable Seiko movement. Here we have it, and it has a customized rotor. It is just literally a sticker on top, but it's still nice to see the effort that's been put into it. I have measured this one's accuracy, and it's coming in at a pretty wild plus 30.1 seconds a day, so it certainly hasn't been regulated in any sort of way, and that is a little bit wild. If that is something that bothers you, then they are easy to regulate, so that could be something you need to consider in the future. So other specs include a sapphire crystal. So if I just give it a quick wipe, sapphire crystal, which is domed, as you can see, so we have a really nice edging around it. And this custom molded inner bezel as well is one of the key features, which is rotating from the top crown at 2, which is really nice to use and looks mightily impressive as well. Okay, so without further ado, let's discuss the watch in closer detail. So starting off with the dial, really nice sunray, sunblast feel to it. I love the green colour. It's a little bit unusual. You don't see green watches too often. As you can see, depending on the angle of the light, we have this ray of light from a dark green to a light green, which rotates as well. Works really nicely with the strap, with the DLC coated case, and all the colours just look really nice. I love the lighter green loom working well with the darker green base of the dial. So again, visually, very, very good job. The black date wheel as well is a nice little touch. I think a white date wheel certainly would have looked a little bit unusual in this instance. And the dark one matches the case really well. So the depth as well of this internal rotating bezel is really, really impressive. I'll show you in closer detail with the macro lens on shortly, but just I'm trying to get a close-up now and I can't quite. But the amount of depth and detail on this inner rotating bezel is pretty impressive. Then we have this inner ring as well with the minute track on, and then again we have our applied hour markers, so plenty of depth to the dial, really nicely manufactured as well, pretty much flawless. I personally always find that the Spinnaker logo is a little bit on the light side. Obviously that's just the same here as well, not the best quality, but the hands, I like the shape as well. They're sort of like a brushed finish to them as well. So design wise, really good. I really like the design. I think it's pretty striking, really well constructed as well. Moving on to the case, pretty standard case shape really, standard barrel with fairly curvaceous lugs. The key feature really for me is the compressor style case where we have the dual crowns, one at 2, one at 4. So the one at 4 is the movement, which is screw in. The inner bezel is not screw in, that's just straight up rotating, but it is bi-directional. Decent DLC coating as well. We have a mixture of brushed and polished, as you can see. And then as we flip it over to the case back, we have a steel case back. Visually a little bit jarring, but you don't see it very often, I suppose. Exhibition window showing off the movement nicely with some details surrounding the outside. The crown itself is very lightly etched with the Spinnaker logo. I would have liked that to have been a little bit better quality, if I'm honest. Moving on to the strap then, really nice quality. Good colour, which suits the dial to a T. I even like how this sort of is cream. I think it's cream, but it almost bleeds a little bit of the green into it. So that matches and complements really nicely the lighter green loom on the dial, working really well together. Very soft, very supple as well. Very good quality leather, nice and thick as you can see. So nice and comfortable on the wrist. And then moving on to our buckle, standard tang buckle, which is brushed, and then we have the Spinnaker logo lightly engraved on the top bar there. Okay, let's get the macro lens on then, and we'll have a look at it in closer detail. Starting off with the dial. So here's the logo. As you can see, it is very lightly stuck on. It is basically just a sticker, which is such a shame because it's a little bit on the cheap side. That's one thing that I really want Spinnaker to improve. And then our hour markers, if I can get a better shot of the hour markers, look at the depths on them. Very nicely and impressively constructed. Just give the crystal a little bit of a wipe down. Okay, so moving on to our hands, you can see there our brushed finish and our loom filled center. Got a neat little border around the date as well with a step down rehouted edge. And then we have our one step, which is the minute track. And then we have our inner rotating bezel, as you can see. The depth there is very impressive. I love the way the numerals and the blobs are all raised in a way that looks really good to the eye. Okay, and we have a little bit of print work here as well, and you can see there our sort of radial appearance to the dial base as well, looking really nice up close. Moving on to the case then, here's our brush side. You can see there it hides dings nicely, which is good, very practical. Sharp edging as well, decent manufacturing on the casework. We have a little bit of a sort of a polished edge at the base of the bezel here, but everything else is primarily brushed. And then we have this logo very lightly engraved on the crown. Decent grip on the crown there, easy to use. And the same again on the inner rotating bezel, crown, but no logo engraved on that. Flipping it over, here's the case back, nice and decent engraving with all the details, and then our movement itself as well. If I give it a quick wipe. So here's our customized sticker on our rotor. Nothing too exciting, but it's still nice to see a little bit of effort there rather than the stock rotor. The bridging has sort of like a linear brush finish to it, but as you can see, they are a little bit on the grubby side. These Seikos never are perfect, but there we go, they sure are reliable, which is a good thing. There's our escapement ticking away. Nicely done. Moving on to the strap then. So here's our top grain, very nice and soft, and some detailed stitching at the sides, and then again at the bottom here. And then if we flip it over, well sealed on the side, and then on this shorter length we have the Spinnaker logo sort of printed within it. And then finally, moving on to our tang buckle, we can see the logo very lightly laser etched again. That's a shame that it's not engraved. Would have been a little bit better quality. However, it's nice and accurate. Okay, so I mean, yeah, it's got some negative points. There's little bits where I wish the case could be a little bit. Well, the crown could be a little bit deeper, I think, and the engraving on the buckle could be a little bit better as well. Also, the logo could be a little bit better applied. However, they're the only negative things I can think of. I mean, the loom is pretty good as well. If I can get that in focus. I mean, this is just nothing exciting, no major charge, and you can see that it glows even up close. So the loom is pretty impressive for the price as well. With the code WIA20, $228 or £175, it is a very impressive watch for the money, I'm not going to lie. Sapphire crystal, decent all-round construction apart from those minor points. Nice leather strap as well. Seiko NH35 movement, and just general good looks. I think it's a really good option for many people who are after a decent diver with that, a little bit different, something a little bit different about it. Or people tend to have certain things that they really dig, and the compressor style is certainly one of those things that does attract a lot of people. So if you are after a cheap compressor style watch, then the Spinnaker Bradner certainly would be a great option for you. So yeah, a great watch at a reasonable price. So I would recommend it. So Spinnaker really doing great things in recent times. Creating some great watches at reasonable prices. So I'm really happy that they are starting to really push the boat out with decent watches. Okay, so this was the Spinnaker Bradner. That's what it's all about. So thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment, and thanks, and see you next time. Bye bye.